Shalom, first and foremost, all praise and glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachakodash, that belong to our apostles, the bishops, the elders of the great millstone, and greetings, salutations, blessings, much love unto you elect. Shalom unto you, your brother Shaquat, with a really quick video, really quick. And just want to do something real quick on this, okay? Because here we see the witchcraft of how should I say it? Of Esau. Let's just put it that way. The witchcraft of Esau. Okay, he knows is Esau Edom. There we go, because the word is right there in the beginning of this chapter. But we see that what he's trying to do is trying to perform a set of witchcraft on the people. And a lot of times you people are so caught up in your phones and in the way that this thing works that you lack common sense, that you lack reasonable thinking. Okay, and things don't seem right here. It's like it just don't make sense. And when you go into the old moon landing videos of the old moon landing, we down here on Earth through all the atmospheres and all of this stuff, we see that there's no stars on the planet, and and then I saw a video of a guy. He said, "Now let me get this." He kind of had this country trucker type of accent to him, but it might have been a comedic thing. Who knows? So-called white guy might have been a Jake. Who's to say? But what he said was, "So let me get this right. Get this right. So you telling me in the 1960s when I'm gonna get the video because I think I know where it's at. Let me see if I can find it real quick because it was perfect how he said it. You're supposed to believe that you got onto this, strap yourself on a bottle rocket, glorified bottle rocket, and sent yourself to space without any infrastructure on there and then flew right back down. Okay, you going us to believe that. Then you get up and then, this is me adding this part. And I was like, yeah. And then you get up there and you're bouncing around a couple hours playing hopscotch and you fly back down, what he said. But I said, but then, they didn't say that. Like, who's filming? Like, who's filming it? Why are we in third person watching these astronauts bouncing around? Where is that from? Is that from another rocket that they never told us about? Why do you have the third person rocket there? And a lot of people lack that understanding. They get up there, they bounce around. They don't think that because there's no stars or nothing in the background. They don't. There shouldn't be another glorious look to it. Okay, I've done videos on this before, but the point being, even comedian Godfrey, even saw like smells bullshit basically. Okay, but they keep trying to push this narrative to keep them in that higher elevated state of rulership, but their rulership is crumbling, man. Everything around them is crumbling. All right, so fair use, fair use, fair use. I'll show the fair use real quick. Okay, copyright disclaimer, fair use, fair use, fair use. This is not for monetary gain or anything like that. It can be for somebody's entertainment, and but it's really for educational purposes. Fair use, fair use, fair use. All right, so this is it here. This is on another app. Don't worry about all that. But you can search this situation. The main piece is on the right. All right, but just watch.
You don't believe in the moon landing? Absolutely not. We've been learning about this shit in school for decades. What the fuck do you mean you don't believe in that shit? Are you some type of conspiracy theorist or something? So let me get this straight.
Mm-hmm.
You really believe that in 1969, when televisions were still in black and white and folks were still using rotary fucking phones, and most new cars sold in the United States didn't even have power windows or fucking air conditioning, that we just strapped two cowboys into what was essentially a fucking Coke can with a Chevy small block attached to it and just launched them motherfuckers out into orbit on nothing more than a hope and a fucking dream, and somehow managed to land that glorified bottle rocket safely on an uncharted lunar surface, where they then got out and played hopscotch for a few hours, and then
Okay, and so I guess I should know how the internet works and posting videos on YouTube. You got to pause it and talk every few seconds or whatever. But when you start listening to this, in layman's terms, in plain English, in plain understanding, with a reasonable mind, not just so happy that this is being accomplished. Even if it's a lie, you're so, oh my God, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. But you're really up there starting to critical think now, okay? And now you're like, okay, so all of this is happening in 1969. So he's actually painting a very good picture for you in the common sense realm of it, right? So you got to put that to what's going on in present time as well. Let's watch.
Got right back inside that motherfucker, and then somehow managed to launch themselves back off the goddamn moon with no infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. Because the image just showed us right. It showed us that they landed right on the surface, nice and safely. No gravity, none of that shit, but they landed safely on the surface, nice and soft. No landing pad, no none of that. And then they could just take right back off again. But it took all gravity and all this other stuff off of Earth. Right? Keep watching.
And then a few short weeks later, they landed safely back on Earth. You really fucking believe that happened? God damn, you're a gullible son of a bitch. I bet you still believe in fucking Santa Claus, you goofy bastard. So wait, you don't believe it?
Okay, so let's go back to what comedian Godfrey was talking about now. Because this is about the 1969. So in 2025, you don't think they got it in 2025? I've heard this before. Okay, but let's see what he commonly thinks. Because it's like, so, and it hadn't been back since. I said in this amount of time, when this was before this new event happened, I was like, if this was true, why didn't they ever go back? Why do they never go back? Okay? They never be like, they should be, the way America works particularly, they would have tours that you pay to fly to and from the moon. If that were if that was America really being the business people and how they exploit things, okay, it would have been had it set up that way. But then they just destroyed it because no man should have it. Then they said, okay, wait a minute, maybe we should have it. This is dumb. Like all the excuses that people use just don't add up or make sense. Make common sense, okay? Now let's watch. And again, fair use, fair use, fair use. Let's hear what he says.
Congratulations on that space trip. Gayle King and Katy Perry and Amanda Wynn, Jeff Bezos, all of them, they took off the other day and went into
space, right? And if you notice the names, those are at least the Hollywood elite, if not the elite of the world, right? There's a lot of people that are in the public image, they're high level public image. So they chose these people to go up there. All right.
Space. Yeah. It was really funny too because Gayle looked very, very worried. What the hell did I get myself into? Everyone else is, yeah. Gayle King's like, uh-oh, the hell no gene just kicked in. I have some doubts about this. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I have some doubts.
He has some doubts about this. Okay. And he should, because he's as most comedians, though they contort reality to make jokes and things funny, most of them have they're geniuses because they have the ability to think outside the box of what they're showing you and make critical thinking of it, and they can contort that in such a way to make it comedic, but they can provoke thought. And so a lot of comedians are pretty good, okay, at what they're doing. But you got to be able to use this. You got to be able to use this in common day, everyday thought, let alone with the Bible. But you got to be able to just use this, because this man and his witchcraft will do all kinds of trickery and so on and so forth on you. I'm trying not to show his image, too much, but so you can kind of understand. But when you saw the bottom half of it, they showed it going on. But he's gonna say some things about it.
I don't know. They were all made up and done well. And listen, when you look at people like Mae Jemison and all these astronauts that came before us, Sally Ride and all these great astronauts that came before us, they never had all the makeup and all this other shit on. They were like, you had to train to be an astronaut. That's what I thought. You had to go through certain procedures. Maybe they did, but something is bugging me about this whole trip, because it was fast as shit too. It was quick. I mean, they went into space, came right back down. It was too fast. When they're on the ride, they're taking photos of each other, and yeah, look at me, they're still doing selfies.
And that's the key right there. Okay, I know this is 2025 where everything's about the experience of the people watching. You're more concerned about the experience of the people watching than the actual experience that you're on. People will sit there and have a camp. They'll be at a theme park and going on an extreme thrill ride or something, and they'll have the camera focused on them and their reaction to what's happening on a roller coaster. But we don't have a sense of what's actually happening on the roller coaster. We don't know that was a big drop. We just kind of see you shaking around, and in the background, if we can see it. And so, like, it's just distorted. But if you're going into space, and they ain't been into space like that since 1969, you're not, as he's gonna say, you're not gonna look out the window. Like, you can see still Earth atmosphere out the windows as we're looking in the background now. But they're already with weightlessness. Shit don't add up.
Even narcissism outside of the planet is bad. Yeah, look at us.
Yeah.
If I was in space, I'd be in the fucking window like, damn, holy shit. And what happened to helmets? John Glenn, right, went to space in 1961, and he had a helmet on and all this other stuff. He had a helmet.
They prefer you to see that that's them in the space uniforms, in the space mobile or whatever, okay? Because that's part of the witchcraft, and you people, your common sense don't even tap in. All right, I'm going to let him play, but I'm going to grab a few of these comments and see what they say. I didn't even look at the comments, but...
Suits on. These girls had like tight-ass, little cute NASA outfits on. And there was no head trauma, no from pressure. 35,000 feet on an airplane, you're like, yeah, dang. Ear pressure, babies are crying. You're like, shit, you got to stretch out blood.
Yeah, ear pressure and shit. You know, ear pressure on an airplane that we know is on, that explain that is only going to so high into a certain level of atmosphere, but you supposed to be going to space. That is PR to sell future tickets. Man, one giant leap for bullshit. Hopefully we'll find out. They at least had helmets on. It would make it more believable. Absolutely.
This is 35,000 feet. Terrestrial. They're extraterrestrial. Once you leave the fucking atmosphere, boom, extraterrestrial, right? If you're in space, I don't know. Something didn't look right about it. And even when they took off, he was far away. I know Oprah was crying and shit, but Oprah's good at drama. Hell, but something is looking a little off. That's all. You guys let me know. One small step for man, one giant leap for bullshit. Space, the final frontier.
All right, I'm going to skip a little more to Captain Kirk, even though it was pretty funny.
Tell me, as a captain of space who's been traveling all the way through with Dr. Spock and Bones, you all tell me if this is true or is it bullshit?
See, and there you go. Okay, and as I thought about it, I was laughing at it, because they're still trying to pull these plays, but at the end of the day, I think those in the know of us know that they can't make it out that far, but what we do know is what they're really out here doing. So let me grab a couple precepts, then I'll explain what that thought was, right? All right, this is Job 14. I'll read 4 and 5. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. And what's a clean thing? We can't expect somebody that is accustomed to lie to all of a sudden be a truth teller. We just can't believe that. He wasn't created for that purpose. We know what he was created for. The scriptures in Isaiah tell him to stand now with thy with thy witchcraft and enchantments, because he will not change up his stance on how he deceives you people. He won't change from deceiving. He just won't. Verse 5 says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. It's on our side because this man is going out of power. That's why everything's collapsing in this world, because of who the ruler of it. Okay, he's a wicked man, and wickedness cannot stand. But there is a dual purpose, and there's a multi-purpose, if you will, for this man being in rulership. And when he goes down, it's to judge our people as well, and to get the earth back on balance by showing you how effed up it is because of the bad rulership that's guiding the planet, right? Thou has appointed bounds that he cannot pass. And twofold, there's a level that he won't be able to get to. As people in the comments were saying things like, yeah, they're setting up there's the publicity to promote going to the tickets, trying to sell tickets to the moon and all of that, right? The PR to sell future tickets for the ride. Sounds great. It's probably part of what they're doing. They're selling all of this stuff. They ain't even got the bullet train from LA to Vegas together, man, let alone anywhere, Utah, wherever they're trying to make it. They haven't even gotten that down the coast of the West Coast. They haven't even got that together yet. Okay? But then they want us to believe that they're just sitting only celebrities, people that's known to be with the agenda. They're supposed to believe that they're going to be truthful about this. Well, even that bounds he cannot pass, we know he can't go past the Van Allen belt. Okay? We know this. The Heavenly Father has set these things up. But it said when he would try to go into space. Matter of fact, let me just get it in Obadiah real quick. Oops. Obadiah 1, I'm going to start with verse 3. The pride of thine heart have deceived thee because you think you can do these things. You think everybody's going to be deceived. But you're the one that's really deceived. And you deceive majority of the world and the people, but you're not deceiving the prophets. You're not deceiving the elect. Okay, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, we know who that's describing. Whose habitation is high, we know who that's describing. That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And who is that describing? The Edomites, the elite Edomites. They build these high rises to make it feel like cave-like points of view, to feel at home like when they were in the caves. Okay? Who shall bring me down to they think they can't ever come down with all the bullshit and pride. That's why they're trying to fulfill the NWO. And this is all part of the image of the NWO. You think you're going to be able, and say, let's hypothetically say they do accomplish moon rides or whatever they were supposed to have done, space rides on SpaceX or whatever. Let's say they really did do that and they actually went out into space. Okay? Let's say that no one thought to put one of them camera phones that still work inside that rocket or whatever they want to call it, to point it out the window to show that perspective. No one thought to go live and show it outside the rocket. There's no footage of that. Okay, but you got a drone sitting there watching it, and it looked damn near like animation or AI or something, showing it fly up. Come on, man. We're tired of the BS. We know what looks real and what don't nowadays, and you expect everybody just to go along, oh, wow, it was Katy Perry. Because you're thinking about Gayle King and Katy Perry and all these other famous people doing these things and not critically thinking. It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, we know who that's describing, and in what rulerships, whether it be the Greek, the Romans, or even now in the modern day Romans of the Western nations, the EU, NATO, US, and so on and so forth, they use that eagle. Okay, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, though you're trying to go up in the space stations and make Elysiums and do all these things, we're supposed to believe that you can just go out and just travel as deep into space with human beings as you want. We know that's what your goal is to attempt to do. Thence will I bring thee down to the ground. When you start really going back into this, we know that your end is near. 1969, the truth came back around that time also. So we know when you did that, this is when people started waking up. And we also know that the seals were being opened of the understanding of the Bible, as well as in this time that is another seal just continually opening up where the people are starting to wake up to your BS, which also signifies the time of your downfall. Okay? What I see is they know the judgment is coming to America. They know the judgment is going to happen here on earth, and they're trying to find a way to escape. Okay, I've read about this years ago, and I can't think of none of them. I think it was Branson. I forgot his first name, but Branson, that does Virgin Hotels, Virgin Mobile, and so on and so forth. He was setting something up like that too, and there were some celebrities back then that were investing into it or trying to get tickets for $1 million or something like that, to where when America would be destroyed, they would be able to fly over the destruction right at the edge of space, not actually going into space, but the edge of space. Okay, so the other guy played in here, he was like, so let me get this straight. Glorified bottle rocket, blah, 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 right? And they took a couple weeks, you came on back down. Well, they went up for 20 minutes and I'm just jokingly throwing it out there, but they came down real quick. You just go up into the atmosphere and come down. It don't even get dark outside the windows. There's no images of it being dark where you hit space. None of that. And there's no trajectory to get out the plane. You can just go straight up. Okay? Which tells me you only went so high. You went just above the atmosphere. At best, this is at best, if you even left the ground. But you only went up high enough, which I don't even believe they left the ground. But hey, but they only went up high enough to escape the destruction that'll be below. Just high enough to hit us another. I'm trying to think of the levels of atmosphere. It's like damn. I can't think of them, but y'all know what they are: stratosphere and so on and so forth. You went just above where the destruction of nuclear missiles would touch. Okay, just to escape that major force of that. Okay, at best. All right, you just gotta see bullshit and call it when you see it. I got 2 more scriptures. Amos chapter 9, verse 2. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, and I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, and all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword, and he that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. All right, and that's not talking about the righteous. That's talking about you elite. You're not going to escape. Those of you that live through the destruction that's coming, you're still going into captivity. Okay? Though they dig into hell, thence will my hand take them. What hand? Yahweh Shai, man. You know, the power of Yahweh through Yahweh Shai, and the angels and then the elect are going to go and take them up, man, and dig them out. Though they climb up to heaven, though you try to go into those other atmospheres and try to even get off the planet to escape the judgment, it says, thence will I bring thee down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search, and I will, bunkers and whatnot, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, deep blue sea, and what's that other one, the Meg and all of that, where they underground bases and all these other things, yeah, you still gotta come up. Then will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Who's that? Leviathan. Okay, we don't know what true we know about Leviathan. We know, but we don't know all the power and the creations of the Heavenly Father that He will bring into this moment, man. Okay, and that's good for that. That's I'm not gonna go too deep into that. I got one more, and this is one that shit. In these times, man, the deception just gets worse and worse. So we read this, 2 Corinthians 2, verse 11, especially when you can see through the bullshit. You know, people that don't have the truth are seeing through the bullshit. Okay, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, that he gonna lie. He lied in 69. He'll lie today. Okay? He lied, and so you telling me Gail King all ass went through all the training. As old as Gail King is now, she went through all the training to be able to go into space. Her and Katy Perry got built up and ready to handle the pressure and the atmosphere and all of that to go into space. No ear pop, no gum chew, none of that. But you just get out of here, man. Okay? Nobody believes you. And that's the thing, the covering cast is coming off the people, and they're tired of your BS, E. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there. Just this is stuff that they try to say, oh, look what's going on. Stop. Nobody believes this shit. Okay? We don't believe the old one. We don't believe it now. Now they're making movies about moon landings and outer space travel. And those are fun, adventurous movies to watch, and they're great. But the element of realism just ain't there. A lot of your story is told in your movies about what happens in these situations. But you really don't have any proof that you actually did this. Okay? So, stop. Anyway, the more so to stop is the people that believe this bull. All right, so I'm going to end it there, giving all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshai, Ba'ashem Chakodash. Until the next one, Shalom.